Now, what if we could upload our brain to the cloud? If you were told you had a week to live, would you pay $50,000 for 1 more year? What about $1 million for 10 more years? How about immortality for the price of $100 million? You may think that you're pretty careful about the information you share online, but almost everything that makes us human can be quantified, measured, and ultimately uploaded to the cloud. In this thought bubble, I'm going to explain what it means to upload our brain to the cloud, how close we are to doing so, and what the consequences might be. You are not your physical body. You are not even your DNA. You are your brain. Your personality, identity, memories, thoughts, and emotions are all produced by an incredibly complex network of neurons that communicate with each other through electrochemical signals. Every decision you make, every action you take is initiated by these networks. So to truly understand what it means to upload our brain to the cloud, we need to learn how our brains work and how they store information. If you want to record a single instance of your brain activity, researchers at the Human Connectome Project have found that you would need at least 27 terabytes of storage space. This is enough to store roughly 168 hours of full HD video or nearly 10 billion photos. But there's a much bigger challenge than storage space, which is actually figuring out how to measure the activity of your 86 billion neurons. In recent years, scientists have developed ways to image brain activity in real time using magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI. MRIs use strong magnetic fields and radio waves to produce detailed images of the organs inside your body. They've been used to diagnose everything from broken bones to brain tumors. But the problem with MRIs is that they take a relatively long time to capture an image of your brain, around 15 minutes for a single slice and up to an hour for an entire volume. This is too slow to track changes in brain activity over the course of a day. To measure changes in brain activity over the course of seconds, scientists use electroencephalography, or EEG. EEGs measure electrical activity in the brain with electrodes placed on the scalp. It's a fast and cheap way to measure brain activity, but the low cost comes with a trade-off in accuracy. Electrical signals decay quickly as they travel through the skull, meaning EEGs can only accurately measure activity in the top layer of the brain. Both MRIs and EEGs have their pros and cons, but they both rely on measuring the physical properties of the brain. There is another approach that's gaining popularity known as functional near-infrared spectroscopy, or FNIRS. FNIRS measures how light interacts with blood in the brain to estimate how much oxygen is being used by different areas of the brain. This can be done with a helmet that contains lasers and photodetectors. The light source shines through the skull where it is partially absorbed by blood. The amount of light that passes through depends on the concentration of blood and oxygen. Changes in blood oxygen levels indicate increased neural activity, which can then be mapped to specific regions of the brain. Unlike MRI and EEG, FNIRS is relatively portable and the data processing is faster, making it suitable for studying brain activity in the wild. There's still one more thing that we need before we can upload a brain. We need to connect our brain to the cloud. To do this, we need to figure out how to combine multiple measurements of brain activity into a single comprehensive signal. This is called creating a brain fingerprint. Once we have a brain fingerprint, all that's left to do is find a way to convert brain activity into data that can be sent over the internet. Some researchers are attempting to do this by connecting EEGs to machine learning algorithms that can decode brain activity. By training these algorithms on large sets of data, they can identify unique patterns of brain activity associated with different thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. These algorithms can then translate brain activity into text, speech, or even images. Other researchers are working on wireless headsets that can read brain activity using FNIRS. The goal is to create a headset that is comfortable enough to wear for extended periods of time while gathering high-quality brain data. The technology to upload a brain isn't quite ready for prime time yet, but many of the components are already here. It's really just a matter of putting them all together. But who would want to upload their brain to the cloud? And why? Well, let's imagine a few scenarios. The first is a person with a degenerative brain disease like Alzheimer's. For people living with Alzheimer's, the cloud could provide a way to preserve their memories by regularly backing them up. This could potentially allow them to access those memories even as they slip away from view. But it could also allow their loved ones to access those memories after they pass away. Some people might see this as a natural extension of memorialization, while others might worry that it is a slippery slope towards a world where the dead are reduced to data. Another scenario is someone who wants to expand their consciousness by uploading it to the cloud. Here's how that might work. When you send a message over the internet, you leave one computer and enter another. A brain uploaded to the cloud could be sent from one body to another, either in the form of a complete copy or a partial copy. A partial copy could enhance your consciousness by giving you access to information and capabilities that you don't normally have. For example, a partial copy of my brain could be uploaded to a supercomputer that is good at solving math problems, allowing me to perform calculations in my head much faster. Or someone who knows American Sign Language could upload part of their brain to a robot that can sign, allowing them to communicate with people who are deaf. Finally, some people might want to upload their brain to the cloud to extend their lifespan. If we assume that uploading a brain preserves its information perfectly, then in theory, there is no reason that that brain couldn't keep functioning indefinitely. This is essentially the plot of the science fiction movie The Matrix, which takes place in a dystopian future where humans are kept alive in a dream world while their bodies are used as batteries by sentient machines. While this scenario seems far-fetched today, it wasn't always. When Elon Musk started his company Neuralink in 2016, its stated mission was to develop implantable brain-machine interfaces to help people with paralysis communicate using text generated from their brain activity. Since then, Neuralink has received hundreds of millions of dollars in investments and now claims to have created a device that can wirelessly transmit brain activity from monkeys to computers. The idea is that eventually devices like these can be used to restore vision in blind people or treat neurological diseases like Parkinson's. But it's hard not to notice that the next step beyond treating disease is augmenting healthy brains. Imagine if instead of restoring vision in blind people, Neuralink could enhance the vision of everyone else, allowing us to see 360 degrees around us or even see ultraviolet or infrared light. What if Neuralink could also restore hearing in deaf people or enhance the hearing of everyone else, allowing us to hear sounds that are too high or too low for us to normally detect? Some people might view these kinds of enhancements as cheating since they would give us abilities that most people do and have. But other people might see these enhancements as the next step in human evolution. After all, humans have been using tools to augment their abilities for millions of years. Maybe it's time we took that to the next level by uploading our brains to the cloud. But as amazing as these possibilities sound, it's important to remember that every advantage comes with a trade-off. By definition, uploading your brain to the cloud means that you'll be sharing your most private information with someone else. If you think about all the data that you've shared online that can be used to target you with advertising, imagine what could happen if someone had access to your deepest thoughts and feelings. This is the dark side of uploading your brain to the cloud that's rarely talked about. Even if we could somehow get around the privacy concerns, there's no guarantee that the cloud will be able to store your brain forever. Disasters like hurricanes, earthquakes, and even nuclear war could destroy the data centers that store your brain. And if that happened, there's no guarantee that your brain would survive. This is why some people might prefer to remain offline rather than risk losing their minds in a digital sea of ones and zeros. So what do you think? Would you upload your brain to the cloud? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this thought bubble, please subscribe because it really helps me grow. And as always, thanks for watching.